Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cruise News Show. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Well, let's recap a story that started developing last night. MSC Cruises USA and really globally have canceled all of their cruises for November, with the exception of two cruise ships in the Mediterranean. The MSC Magnifica and the MSC Grandiosa will continue to sail in November. Now, the Grandiosa has completed 7 sailings so far. It will continue with its itinerary, and the Grandiosa will be coming online on October the 19th. Starting up sailings in the Mediterranean, but the rest of the MSC cruise fleet has been put on hold for November. That doesn't mean that ships won't be getting staffed up, getting ready to cruise in December, but official passenger-paying cruises will not be happening in November, save for those 2 cruise ships in the Mediterranean. MSC joins the cancellation party, saying bye-bye to November. In our second story, let's talk about the future of cruise ship buffets. It's been a topic that's been passed back and forth. Will cruise ships have buffets when they resume cruising late 2020, 2021? Have we seen the days of the buffet gone by? Yes and no. There are some cruise lines that will keep with a buffet concept, and some cruise lines are going to do away with it altogether. The cruise lines under the Royal Caribbean Group banner, they will keep the buffets. Buffets in the fact that there will be food out in a traditional buffet line, but you will be served by the staff. You will walk up to the buffet, you'll tell them what they want, they'll put it on the plate for you. You will not touch the food or touch the tongs yourself. You will be served. Norwegian Cruise Line, so far they're saying we're not really sure. We know that the recommendation is to not have any self-service options, and so do we even want to go through the hassle of having the buffet set up and people serving, or will we go a different route? It is unclear at this point what NCL will do with the buffet. I'm sure they'll use the space possibly for food service, but whether there'll be a traditional buffet or not, it is still yet to be seen. MSC Cruise Lines, now they're saying the buffet is open. They believe that the buffet is an integral part of the cruising experience, and they want cruising to be as normal as possible. Of course, MSC has had the successful cruise bubble over there in the Mediterranean, and the buffet is part of it, but it works very similar to what Royal Caribbean is talking about. You will be served by the staff. You will not just be able to go and serve yourself food. It will be a staff service. Now, interesting to note, Holland America has always done this, from what I understand, that they always have the staff service. So this isn't necessarily a new concept, but definitely a concept that cruise lines are having to embrace because of the new changes in the health protocols. So MSC keeping the buffet, but what about the Carnival Corporation? What are they going to do? Well, they still haven't announced their plan for Carnival Cruise Line, but if we look at what they've done with some of their other cruise ships in Europe that are sailing right now, it might give us some indication. Carnival has ships that are currently sailing under their Costa brand and their AIDA brand, and they've essentially done away with the buffet in the traditional sense. It's not a bunch of food lined up. You're not going to walk up and tell a server what you want. They still have a food service in the buffet area. You actually go and sit down. You use a QR code to get a digital menu, and then you tell the server what food you want, and they bring it to you. It does sound like it's different than the MDR experience, of course, where you're served dishes of food that was prepared together for a particular purpose. It sounds like the buffet experience on the AIDA and Costa Cruise Lines, it's still pick and choose what food that you want. The change is that you don't actually see the food and that it's brought to you by a server. Costa Cruising restarted their sailings on September the 6th, and we will see AIDA's first cruises going off on October the 17th. And for the rest of the Carnival Corporation brands, it's uncertain how they will treat the buffet. Of course, on Carnival Cruise Line, the buffet, a big draw, a big part of the cruise experience, so we'll be interested to see how that is being treated. There are still cruises scheduled out of Port Canaveral and Port of Miami for Carnival Cruise Lines in November. If those schedules hold true, if those cruises are not canceled, I would anticipate we will know the fate of the buffet on Carnival Cruise Line sooner rather than later. What do you think? Is the buffet a big part of your cruising experience? Would you prefer to have the QR digital menu, we bring you the food, or would you still like to jump up into that buffet line and tell the servers what you like? Leave a comment below. Now, I don't know if you're a buffet person or if you're an MDR person, but I do get the sense that you're somebody who enjoys getting the cruise news updates. The best way to keep those rolling is to subscribe to this channel with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Click it. Do it. Stay in the know. And now let's talk about the big announcement yesterday. CLIA announcing that all cruise lines that are a part of their association globally have committed to testing passengers 100% prior to boarding the cruise ship. We've seen it happen in pockets. We've seen it in Europe. We've seen it proposed in North America. Now CLIA coming out saying that they have the agreement of all of the cruise lines that are in their association, which is the majority of cruise lines. Any cruise ship over 250 passengers, they have committed to 100% testing of all passengers and crew prior to having them board the cruise ship. This is great news. Cruise ships will be one of the very few environments in the world where everyone who gets on the cruise ship will have tested negative for the virus before entering into the environment. And as I present this, it is with the recognition that testing is not 100% accurate all the time, and that's why there are other health protocols in place to continue to mitigate the spread of the virus. But testing everybody, testing all the passengers, testing all the crew prior to getting on the board is a great start. Let me give you a quick refresher of the types of tests that are used for testing. The antigen test is primarily the rapid test. The antigen test tests for proteins that exist in the coronavirus. So that test looks for specific proteins that are indicative that the coronavirus is present in the body. That is the rapid test that is taken. That can return a result as early as 15 minutes. And this is what is primarily being used at the cruise port to get that rapid result. The second type of test is the PCR test. The PCR test actually looks for the DNA of the virus, the genetic material of the virus. It is unique. It cannot be confused with other DNA, other genetic material that exists in the human body. And so the PCR test is looked at as considerably more reliable than the antigen test, but it takes longer to get the results. The way that it's playing out in the cruise world right now, MSC Cruise Lines giving every passenger an antigen test on embarkation day, and if the passenger returns a positive result on the antigen test, they are then tested with the PCR test before they are denied boarding. It's a two-test system there for MSC, and the way that it works is if the result for the PCR test comes back negative, even after a positive antigen test, they will allow people on board, but if you get a negative followed by a negative, you are denied boarding. It is uncertain still how that's going to work at other places around the world. The Norwegian Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean Group health protocols that they outlined suggested that passengers get a test somewhere else prior to the cruise, anywhere between 5 days and 24 hours, and present that to the cruise line. I think that's challenging because that leaves a lot of time between the test and actually getting on the cruise ship. I really like the model that MSC is doing. I hope that that's adopted here in the U.S. But yeah, that's still uncertain at this point. And in regards to that 5-day to 24-hour test, there's questions like, well, what if I go to the cruise port a week before my cruise to enjoy some vacation time? How am I going to get a test? Again, it's all kind of uncertain, but I would expect, at least here in the U.S., for U.S. ports where people have an entrepreneurial bent, where people see an opportunity to make a little coin, it would not surprise me if there is availability of COVID testing around the cruise port, tailored specifically for cruise passengers. I know if I was somebody that was requiring a test, I would develop a list of people that could provide that test in the near vicinity. Again, this is all speculation on my part, but it would not surprise me that there would be businesses that spring up around the cruise ports helping people get their test results so that they can go cruising. But the commitment is there from CLIA and all the associated CLIA members, guaranteeing that there will be 100% testing of crew and of passengers prior to embarking the cruise ship. To me, this is the foundation of the cruise bubble. Like I said before, name another place where we all have access to, where everybody that you're going to be with has had a virus test and has a test result of negative. I like it. Boom, there's the reality. You have to get tested before cruising. Are you down with that, or do you hate the idea? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching the show. Show your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.